morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 5th Biennial Conference of the North America region of the People's National Congress Reform. It is a distinct honor and pleasure and a privilege to welcome you all here. Mr. President, Madam General Secretary of the People's National Congress, honorable members of the NAR's executive, delegates, observers, special guests, and invitees. It is indeed a privilege to host this event here in the city of Atlanta. While I'm at it, could I ask you all to follow me and to turn your phones off? Good example. Please turn your phones off and put it in vibrate. Before we get started, we're gonna repeat the party's prayer, not followed by the national pledge, the party's battle song. So if you don't mind standing.
Bless Lord, this our
meeting, and grant all our deliberations pleasing in thy sight. I pledge myself to honor always the flag of Guyana, and to be loyal to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energies towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana.
Out of ages of oppression, independent now we stand, newly born again, victorious, reigning masters of our land. On the peak of Mount Orion, or beneath the rising sun, from the mark of Point of Blair to where East Centaurus run, all given liberty by the might of the PNC. Oh, land of comrades, take our arms in unity, organize and charge the forces of the haughty enemy. Truth shall be your martial weapon, brotherhood around the blade. Thine easily be cherished, toward in parts of racial hate. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC. Sons of many lands and daughters of the continents of earth, PNC lifts up the banner of her precious human word. All who labor are our comrades, all who suffer thick and thin, who come to month in fields and factory, go on proud and bring them in. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC. Black and green with red and palm tree, freely flags of freedom flag. Rouse the lazy and the sluggard that will let it droop and drag. Rally from the coast and borders, field and office factories. Brother, sister, friends and comrades, rally to the PNC. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC. Sacred is our labor, brother, on a rebel rings of toil. In the factory, in the office, spinning riches from the soil. On a rebel is a warfare, crush the monster poverty. On to economic freedom in a great economy. From field and office factory, rally to the PNC.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. I'd like to introduce to you Colonel George Maynard, who will be doing the introduction of the President. Your Excellency, Commander-in-Chief and Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Brigadier David Arthur Granger, Honorable Senior Minister of Social Protection, General Secretary of the Party, Ms. Amna Ali, Honorary Consul General, Chairman of the North American Region, members of the NAR Executive, delegates, observers, distinguished guests. Good morning.
Good morning.
And an extraordinary Giorgio welcome to everyone here today. My name is George Maynard, and I'm a current member of the Florida Group and the NAR Executive. I am incredibly pleased to be afforded the privilege to introduce our President, and more importantly for this conference, the distinguished leader of our party, Brigadier David Granger. While my primary responsibility is to present the leader, it would be remiss of me if I did not take this opportunity to also recognize in our presence our dear friend and gracious General Secretary, Ms. Amna Ali, and thank her for being here and accompanying the leader to participate in the conference activities. It is my understanding that this is the first NAR biennial conference that both the leader and the General Secretary are in attendance. We are therefore honored by their presence. His Excellency the President and leader of our party is no stranger to most of us. Some of us have had good fortune to serve in the military with the leader, while others developed political and professional relationships in the years following his retirement from the Army. My task of introducing the leader is therefore relatively easy, since here in our midst is an individual who is known to us and one who has served our nation and party over the last 50+ years. Our leader has a long and distinguished career in which he excelled as a military officer, historian, educator, author, and publisher. Brigadier Granger has been a champion for the protection of the nation's patrimony and has sought to assert Guyana's sovereignty in the face of threats from Venezuela. Our leader has demonstrated a passion for national unity and social cohesion. Your Excellency, NAR is proud of your leadership and excited about the direction in which we are heading. You have the integrity, professionalism and character, patience, humility, wisdom, experience, energy, and skill set to help us navigate the future and continue on a path of success. We are aware that you have a remarkable vision for the future of our party and country. You are the most significant asset to our nation and party at present and in the foreseeable future. We therefore look forward to your guidance, vision, and wisdom as you set the course for the future of this organization. We are in an exciting time in the life and history of our nation. We are facing a period of remarkable change, enormous challenges, and exciting opportunities. Technology and communication are making the world smaller and more connected than ever. The advent of oil and gas will create unique concerns never seen before in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of Guyana. Mr. President, it is against this background that your presence here today as our leader to address this conference is not only timely, but significant as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the People's National Congress Reform. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not privy to what the leader plans to speak about today, but having worked on his general staff as his principal staff officer, I think I'm in safe territory by saying the leader is likely to touch on the current and emerging issues facing the nation, the role of the North American region and the diaspora in helping to actively promote national unity and social cohesion at a time when we seem to be on a path of ethnic and political polarization. The Guyana Diaspora Project, helping to build Guyana together so the present and future generations can enjoy the good life. Our continued financial support as an organization, whether it is to the party, the 5B's initiative, Twinning with the Regions, or any other worthwhile program organized for the good of the party. The physical landmark of the North American region demonstrated by establishing a regional office. And finally, keeping our eyes on our party's objectives. At the end of the leader's presentation, I am confident we will leave here with a much clearer understanding of the problems confronting our nation and party. We can therefore expect the leader to challenge us with analyzing the issues and coming up with recommendations to help the government and party resolve some of the stressful situations facing our beloved country. As Jimmy Cliff said in his lyrics, I've got a hard road to travel and a rough way to go. Your Excellency, the journey is rough and tiresome, but be assured that the North American region will walk every step of the way with you. We are keeping hope alive. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite you to stand and give our President and Commander-in-Chief, our beloved leader, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger, a warm welcome as
Thank you. Please be seated. You see what Guyana's lost and what the GDF has lost when my Adjutant General migrated. Thank you, Colonel George Maynard, former Adjutant General of the Guyana Defense Force, for your kind words and your clear insights. You're quite correct, this is an important conference for me, for the party, and therefore for the country. There's some hard decisions to be made, and I'm sure that when we leave this hall this evening, when we leave this conference this weekend, we'll be better equipped to give the sort of leadership to this country that it deserves. No other party at this time and in the future could give Guyana the quality leadership that it needs. Current Chairman, Larry London, current General Secretary of our party, and Minister of Social Protection, Amna Ali, current Chairman of the region, current Larry London, current Secretary, current Jenny Freer-Dugal, current Treasurer, current Joycelyn Wilson, members of the executive, delegates, observers. As Commander Maynard said, this is a highly significant time and event. I'm happy to be here for several reasons. One, of course, is the fact that on the 5th of October, a month ago, we celebrated the 60th anniversary of the greatest party ever to be established in the Republic of Guyana. We celebrated our Constitution, our Congress, our General Council, our Central Executive Committee, our regions, our districts, our groups, and most of all, our membership. Few parties could boast of such an organizational structure over a period of 6 decades that we have kept intact. We're not a bottom house party. We're not a word of mouth party. We're an institution. We're an organization. We're a machine that has helped to shape Guyana and will continue to shape Guyana for decades to come. This conference is being held in conformity with our Constitution. Some may say it's expensive, and I can tell you how much every Congress, every General Council costs the party. But it's more expensive not to have conferences because it will lead to certain death of our party. And parties can die. Parties could wither away. Another good reason for me to be here, as I said last night, is that I need to take refuge from the Bulgarians. Sometimes, the Bulgarians can get you down. You come under severe attack. Sometimes. It's to be among friends. Look here, no placards. And I can speak without interruption. Thursday, the 2nd of November 2017 was a day of infamy in the annals of Guyana, in the parliamentary record of Guyana. It will go down as one of the most disgusting episodes of parliamentary misbehavior. Another reason why I'm here today is because more than ever, I'm convinced that the PPP does not deserve to run the government of Guyana.
That's right.
It's disdain for democracy. It's contempt for culture. You know, as I stood there on Thursday, I looked at Africa's fate. You too? Why y'all laughing? I look at the face try to hide behind the placard. Y'all joking, y'all laughing. Another reason for being here today is because this is a reunion with the diaspora. I do believe that at a personal level, I have been an unfair victim of criticism for neglecting the diaspora. But as I said last evening, the engagements have been, to my mind, satisfactory in the sense that the diaspora is huge. I remember from time to time publications in the newspaper that say, the diaspora says this. Who is the diaspora? Canada alone has over 250,000 Guyanese. America probably has another 700,000. Britain, all over the Caribbean, Bahamas, Barbados, BVI. So who is the diaspora? Wherever I've traveled, I have made a deliberate effort to engage Guyanese citizens. I was here in New York in June 2016, as I said. Baroness Amos was there, CCH founder, and a group at the meeting to celebrate our 60th anniversary. Some of my movements have been limited on the basis of advice from the United States Secret Service. I am a head of state, head of government, and they have a responsibility to their government and to our government to make sure that I do not fall into jeopardy or come into harm. And sometimes they give advice. Some people want me to walk down a street or to go to a certain place, and I take their advice. But once I come here, I try to engage with the diaspora. In September, month before the last, I was in the United Nations General Assembly. We had an engagement, which was well publicized. I've been to Bahamas, I've met with the diaspora there. I've been to Barbados. I've been to Toronto, I've met with the diaspora. I've been to London. I've been to Brazil. I always ask to meet with the diaspora. So I think some of the criticisms that I have been avoiding the diaspora are quite unfair. And I'm very grateful for the support that I've received from the diaspora over the years, over the last 7 years particularly. And I want to place on record my gratitude. I want to recognize, and I will continue to reward members of the diaspora who support our People's National Congress. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, leadership is a long, lonely road. Very lonely. And every day you have to make decisions. Some of the decisions may not please some persons, but you have to keep on keeping on, as Ray Charles says. As long as God gives me strength, I keep on keeping on. I'm the fourth leader of the PNC in 60 years, and it's an honor for me. It's an honor to me because I joined the party over 52 years ago, as you will see in the recent publication on the history of the PNC. Some people think I just parachuted into the party. But I think the records prove otherwise. I'll never belong to another party, and I'll be PNC till I die. Before I got married, 47 years ago, that is one of the things I told my wife. Don't get between me and the party. I believe that our party is a place for enlightened leadership, it's a place for ideas, it's a place of institutions. And I'm not a political grasshopper, I don't jump about. And I would like to feel that as party leader, the fourth party leader, we, members and leadership, need to accept certain ground rules. Our founder leader died at age 62. We used to call him the old man, but now that I'm 72, I think he really has to hold on. But not only did he found our party, but he had to struggle to maintain leadership of the party against rivals. And it wasn't easy. those of you familiar with the history of our party would know of the struggles against people like Rawal Farley. One stage he was criticized by his own GF. Who had to be expelled. I mean, this is like 2 months before general elections. He had a general secretary who published a scurrilous newsletter criticizing an important decision which not the leader made, which the party made concerning independence. His own sister, Jessie, was induced, persuaded to publish a scurrilous pamphlet again to those 1961 elections in favor of the PPP, and it was republished for the 1964 elections. His sister took copies of letters that he'd written to his mother and gave it to the PPP. Of course, when the PPP had no more use for her, she was abandoned. When she was sick in hospital, took forward program, took by her side, and we arranged for her. It's a good lesson for people who flee to the PPP to learn.
All right.
That when they're done with you, they're done with you for good. So our first leader was not without travails, was not without resistance and objections and criticism from within his party. Our second leader, you know what we used to call him? Inside of the PNC. Some people fled. God, are you in a good mood this morning? You know? I mean, I haven't gone 5 minutes. Some people had to flee. And then perhaps the greatest wound our party suffered was the secession of a huge section of our party, calling themselves Good and Green. A deep wound. And I say so to Hami's face. You don't do that to your party. Don't do that. If you can't agree, walk. Don't break. That was the worst case of secession we had. You won't have another secession for the establishment of the AFC. The PNC has formed more rival parties than any other party. The first General Secretary I told you about went off and formed the WPA, Sidney King. Second General Secretary I told you about go off and formed the TGG. And Raphael went off and formed the AFC. So the PNC has been a universal donor. You know, you're going to get a blood donor. And then the third leader, Governor Robert Corbyn. You know, the PNC is almost in a state of permanent insurgency. And it was under Robert that Raphael broke and set up the AFC. Well, struggle comes easy, but I'm no stranger to struggle. But you know, a well-known comrade in the party, so I don't make leader jokes. I don't make leader jokes. And I think the time has come now for people to stop attacking the leader of the party as a pastime, as cake shop or rum shop, yeah. And let us establish a truce between the membership and the leadership. Let us try to build the solidarity of our party. And I don't say so because of myself, but because of the office. And I do not know of any situation in which these vitriolic attacks on the party's leader actually help to build solidarity. I think they help to undermine it. We have a mechanism. A mechanism is enshrined in the Constitution. I always remember and I tell my colleagues in other parties that there is a well-known photograph of the leader of this party with a ballot paper marking that ballot paper. I can't remember seeing any other leader of a party actually marking a ballot paper to go vote in party elections. I only became leader through one route, that is elections. And if the membership of the party doesn't want me to be leader, remove me. Not by going to a football party, a football game at Linden and recruiting members, but by going into Hopetown, going into Danielstown, going to Regina, going into Hopetown, or going into Baggerstown, coming here, as the first lady said, eating sour chow mein. But the old-fashioned way. So, let us have a truce. What I tried to do during my tenure as leader is to put my ideas on paper so that people may agree or disagree. Sometimes people talk for hours and they don't mention Guyana, they don't mention any of the objectives of our party. But I try, and even people criticize those efforts, to record my ideas and to ensure that the direction in which the party is traveling is a direction that is endorsed by the organs which have been established by our Constitution. That is to say, by Congress, by General Council, by the Central Executive, and by conferences such as this. And you see, I didn't go to the back of the hall, but there is a book on the themes and the history of our party. It's not a complete, continuous history. There are themes in our party's history. Unfortunately, there was an error. You may notice that there are no page numbers with the index, but the second version is going to be reprinted soon. But here you have a speech I did to General Council in 2014 called Our Party, People's National Congress Reform. Here you have a book, One Nation, which is my Congress speech to the 18th Congress. Those of you who were at the 18th Congress, I'm sure, would have fond memories. And then there's The Good Life, which is my speech to the 19th Congress in 2016, which is much more peaceful in terms of, that's exciting. That's exciting and much less fodder for Facebook. And earlier at the launch of the Partnership for National Unity in 2011, which Karen might remember, because at that time she was working assiduously in our PR section. We had to deal with our attitude to the APNU. and the grounds for the formation, the reasons for the formation of APNU. And I hope that they'll be available, my speech, which was inaudible to many members of the National Assembly on Thursday the 2nd, called The Common Good. Some specimen copies will be available today. I expect that in a few weeks that will be printed. The noisy people won't be able to prevent the printing. They may prevent the hearing, but they can't stop the printing. So the printed word will survive the noise. Comrades, colleagues, delegates, we have a very important decision to make. And one of those decisions, or perhaps the most important decision for many party members, comes to the question of our founder leader. Is the PNC a Burnhamite party? And is David Granger a Burnhamite? That is a burning question for many of us. There was a time when I was convinced that people only joined the PNC because Burnham was dead. Seriously. They only joined the PNC when you were sure that the mausoleum had been constructed. No chance. I'll come back to that. And they boasted about it. They boasted about their resistance and objection. And they tried to embrace something new. Some people actually oppose the use of the word comrade. Some people recreated a lot of the ideas and ideals that were introduced into our party. Some people try to de-Burnhamize the PNC. And you know what I'm talking about. So, when I established the BEST, the Burnham Educational Scholarship Trust, some people decided to stand aside. Worse yet, when I set up the Burnham Book Trust, the BBT, I said, no, this is too much. And then I went on to set up the Burnham Research Institute, BRI. What is this all about? It is not that Burnham was divine, but it is the relevance of his ideas to what Guyana became. And I intend to protect and preserve and promote those ideas, which I believe are still valid. So, as my comrade says, don't make leader jokes. Let us stop crucifying our leaders. At a personal level, as I said, how did I get here? I went through the presidential primary contest. From October 2010, those of you in Brooklyn will remember. Unfortunately, I arrived in the city without a hat. Not realizing that I was in Brooklyn and not better walking. And I think I was assisted to cover my head there. But it was a cold, long winter. And I'm always grateful to the comrades who came around me to launch my campaign. And at the end of it, as you can see from my cabinet, two of the strongest rivals in that process are now colleagues in the cabinet. One is a vice president, and one is a minister, a senior minister. I don't hold grievance and roses, you know. I don't try to attack and destroy my enemies. I see the PNC as one, And if you have a role to play, if you have a contribution to make, it's the party that matters, not personal prejudice. I've been through 2 national elections. I went into both as the candidate first of the PNC, and then I was accepted as the candidate for APNU, and second as the candidate for the APNU plus AFC coalition. And in May 2015, I was the first leader of the PNC to be elected president of Guyana in 30 years. I've been through 2 Congresses and 1 special Congress. So my credentials are public, are popular. And if someone wants to remove me, well, they just have to establish their credentials. It's a question of the people's choice. It's a question of the people's choice. And Facebook can't undermine 207,000 votes, 207,000 votes, a lot of votes. So a few rumors, a few remarks wouldn't be able to erase that impact. So today I urge and encourage, I plead with this region as a part of our party to accept the principle of party solidarity as being paramount to the work of the people. The party cannot be strong if it is weakened by constant carping or by rumor mongering. The party cannot be united if it's divided. That is the IV. All in a good mood today. The party cannot be united if it's divided by rivalry and factionalism, by disloyalty, by Selmanization. How do you get the one? No Selmanization? That's what the chamber said. Comrades, colleagues, as you know, our party was established on the 5th of October 1957. Forbes Burnham, our first leader, and Joseph Latchman, our first chairman, at the Globe Cinema in Cummingsburg, Georgetown. On the same day, Jane Phillips Gay established our Women's Auxiliary. On the same day, our party adopted the name New Nation for our people. On the same day, our party adopted the name People's National Congress. And we are still now producing in the nation on a monthly basis. And I'd like to compliment Mark Archer for doing that. As you know, the original PPP was established on the 1st of January 1950 with our party leader, Forbes Burnham, at the time, the chairman of the PPP. At that time, there was no leader of the PPP. The highest office was chairman, and he held the highest office. One of the senior vice chairman was called Chetty Jagged. He was not leader of anything. Forbes Burnham was the leader of the original PPP. Chetty Jagged was the senior vice chairman. That's historical fact. At that time, from the historical perspective, our country was a British colony. And those of you who are not, like me, old enough to remember, might have difficulty in conceptualizing what it is to live in a British colony. The economy itself was completely dominated by foreign enterprise. Bauxite, sugar, timber. The society was stratified socially, and people resembling you was not rise in the hierarchy. You could not even be invited to Guyana House, government houses it was called then. You couldn't go into certain clubs, the Girls Club, Georgetown Club. I had an uncle who was a lieutenant in the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. Came back, went to another officer, former officer from the RAF. So what was then the Park Hotel in Main Street, they refused to serve him a glass of lemonade. That was how Guyana was as a colony. Socially stratified. If you saw a picture of beauty queens in 1955, you don't know which country those beauty queens came from. Politically, for much of the colonial period until 1953, you could only vote if you could prove that you were literate in the English language, that you had a certain income, which meant a large part of our population was excluded, even from casting the franchise. You were out of the political system. And most of the people were poor. On a day-to-day basis, most people would not use a currency note. We had about 10 different kinds. If you wanted bread, you buy a cent bread. You know, if you wanted a pug of sugar, you spend a penny. So your whole life was surrounded by coins. To see a currency note is something rare. Most people were very poor. Extremely poor. Even into the 1970s. A civil servant would earn about $70 a month. In the 1970s. Mid-60s, sorry. A civil servant would be earning like $70 a month. I don't know if you use $70, they get it. Even when I became commander of the GDF, my salary was about $800 a month. In other words, I had to work over 6 months to get a Granger. To get the currency of $5,000. So the PNC was created as a party of a new type. And we fought for independence. We fought for West Indies Federation. We fought for the working class. We fought to establish a multi-ethnic party. We fought to bring rural and urban and hinterland together. And we established a democratic party. As I said, one that was based on the Constitution. And I'm the first non-lawyer leader of the PNC. Don't talk too loud about the lawyers. We established a party which can show you the record of its congresses. A party which can tell you of the decisions of its General Council and the Central Executive. And a party that has always had a broad general membership. And then there came a time we called the disturbances. This is a very murky period of our history. But what were the disturbances about? I'm not trying to open old sores, but I'm just trying to let people understand the struggles that our party went through. We had an electoral system called the first past the post system. Essentially, up to 1961, The system, which was based on constituency representation, allowed the PPP, which won 43% of the popular vote, to get 57% of the seats in what was called the Legislative Council. And the PNC and United Force together, which won 57% of the vote, got 43% of the seats in the Legislative Council. That was how the first past the post system worked. It's the Usain Bolt system. If you pass first, you win. The trouble is that the bulk of the people were unrepresented in the cabinet and in the legislative council. So we demanded proportional representation since 1964. That is the system of government we've had. You win 53% of the vote, you get 53% of the seats. But the disturbances were all about the electoral system that would guarantee fair representation for the people of our country. And the fact that we still have essentially a PR system is evidence, is proof that it's a system which works, that the people feel properly represented in the National Assembly. But after the British decided in October 1963 to introduce the PR system, the PPP launched what they call a hurricane of protest. Those are not my words. Those three words came from the mouth of Cherry Jagger. Hurricane of protest. A Guyana accustomed to hurricane. But it was a period of arson, of murder, and violence. You know, in 2014, in the month of March, I went to a place called St. Saviour's Church in a village called Auckland. And I laid a wreath at the grave of somebody called Edgar Munro, along with members of his family. I was calling Murray Auckland. Edgar Munro was killed on the 6th of March, 1964, when a bomb was placed in the truck when he was going to work in Sugar Estate. When the truck reached a village called Tame, he was the first person to die in 1960. And if you go to Auckland churchyard there, St. Saviour's churchyard, you'll see the grave. So it is symbolic and symptomatic of the violence which was used to prevent the introduction of the PR system in our country. I'm not going to go over that period now. On another occasion, perhaps we will investigate. But there's a chapter in the book Themes in the History of the People's National Congress, which deals with some aspects of it. In any event, at the end of that period, after which over 176 people were killed, and when you consider that at that time Guyana had a population of over 600,000, and 176 people were killed, you can imagine what will happen in a country like America, maybe with 300 million. Just do the extrapolation to see the impact it had. Few people did not know somebody who was assaulted or murdered during that period. And of course, some of the residents of Linden, you know how traumatic it was. When over 50 Lindeners were killed in a single incident. All I'm saying is that our party was born in struggle and was committed to bringing peace to our country. But more significantly, in December 1964, our party established a coalition administration. That coalition was responsible for the restoration of peace. And when it came to crafting our independence constitution, the PPP boycotted the constitution talks. PPP boycotted independence celebration. They sent a very small delegation of Dr. Jagan, his son, the Attorney General, the General Secretary of his party, and his bodyguards. But it is our party, the PNC, which went into office in December 1964 from the bankrupt treasury. And our party brought about reconciliation and resettlement. Our party, through its policy of social cohesion, brought about reconciliation. Our party introduced education reforms, built the first hinterland school at Indignation, built multilateral schools from under Guyana right through to Wisma. Our party built the UG campus, introduced self-help. Our party developed infrastructure. And those of you who grew up maybe on Berbice at the come to town would know what an ordeal it was to travel from Turkey to Georgetown. Red dust made from crushed clay, because the cars driving over it. Those days you used to have huge pyramids of clay, and the clay would burn for several days, and then they take the hardened clay to make the roadway. That is what our party found in 1964. So the roads you see now, from Skeldon to New Amsterdam, and from Rossignol to Georgetown, are largely the work of the PNC. The road from Linden to Soesdijk, the bridge across the Kanji in Demerara, the airport, all that infrastructure work was done on our part. At the social level, the introduction of the National Insurance Scheme, which some people criticize and avoided until they got into office themselves and become lead, which that system, that scheme, was introduced by our party. Women's equality. And now in your own party, look at CEC. We have almost 50% parity. When I say equality, I mean equality. I told the National Congress of Women, equality is like virginity, you can be partial. I'm a partial virgin. If you're equal, And last month when we presented awards, the person who received the Golden Arrow Achievement almost exactly equal, almost mathematically equal. That's what I mean. Equality is equality. Our party introduced public housing. Some of you would have read of Martin Carter's well-known poem. But there are places in Georgetown where people grew up in yards. One standpipe. One toilet to the galvanized in the yard. You can imagine young ladies going up there. I know what Guyanese means young ladies. Young ladies are not just ladies who are young. When you become a young lady, it's different. You got no clearly. I still don't know what you mean. But our leader felt it was almost inhumane for people to live in those conditions. And we embarked on a housing project to house Guyanese, so that, children in the next room wouldn't know big people story. So when you went into one of those yards, life was tough. And our leader felt it was important to take people out of those conditions. And that's why we created all these top bills, top birds, crane, Southwest Wales. Our leader, from the leader who was concerned about national culture, gave recognition to the Hindu and Muslim holidays. And those of you who were in Georgetown and Diwali would have seen, I don't know if it was the first time, but there were dias lighting the way from Main Street into State House. Thank you for your applause. Dias from Main Street into State House. At the festival of Eid, the Muslims were having lunch in the Manhattan State House. State House is a national institution available to people of all of the faiths of our country. So, my brothers and sisters, that is where I take my ideas from, my ideology from. And it's good for you to know that. The PNC is not a fly-by-night party. The PNC is a party of historical depth and vision. Today, therefore, as we come to the NAR conference, I see our coming together as a reaffirmation of all of these things that we've stood for the last 60 years, our Constitution. And I hope this General Secretary would ensure that our Constitution is revised and reprinted, so everybody should have it in the top left-hand breast pocket. If you don't have a breast, you can put it in your pants pocket. I see it as a recognition of the rule that is embedded in that Constitution. And if you have a copy, turn to Rule 11.3, you'll see how the regions have been established. Rule 11.4 governs the conduct of elections and your annual regional conferences. Your presence here today is governed by rules in our Constitution. And this conference itself is testimony to the regularity and the revitalization of our democracy. And whatever you would choose to discuss today and in weeks and months to come, I think there are several questions that you have to ask yourself as we look to the future. You have to ask yourself, how did the PNC gain office in 1964? Ask yourself, how did the PNC remain in office? And what did it do during that period? Ask yourself, how did the PNC regain office in 2015? And ask yourself, how will the PNC retain office after 2020? They're big questions. These are big questions. This is not guesswork. This is spade work. This calls for the work of all of our members and our regions. And let me go biblical. I know some of you might not be 7 days today, Saturday. But let me go biblical. I believe in the written word. I believe in the word. As you know, the opening lines of John, in the beginning of the world. Well, it is written in Matthew 13, parable of the sower. As I told General Council not too long ago, Jesus spoke of the sower who went out. And some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air ate them up. It's just like somebody hearing something, and by the time he goes to bed and wake up next morning, he forgets what's happened. So some seed fell by the wayside. And some seed fell on stony places. That is because the earth was shallow, sprung up on them. When the sun came up, they just withered and died. And some seeds fell among thorns. And thorns came up, choked the plant. And I saw some of them, at least 3 of them were in Parliament. Last Thursday. They heard the word, but they got choked. Choke with the cares. And some seed fell on good ground and multiplied. I think without ideas, we will not be able to maintain our loyalty to our party. If we are not driven by a deep sense of faith, a deep sense of belief, we could easily be deterred or distracted and end up like the seed which fell by the wayside or which were choked by bees. You will have to be tough to stay with this party for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I see people here in the diaspora, here in NAR, who I know will never, ever leave here. Our party is founded on some philosophical principles. And you have to believe in the party if you are to keep this party strong. You have to do the right thing. One of the things we believe is that this is an egalitarian party. And we cannot spurn workers. We cannot spurn the common folk. You know, there was a man called Abraham Lincoln in this country who said, you know, God loved common people, that's why he made so many of them. And our party is based on the common people. That's what gives our party strength. Not the elite, not the magnate, but the common folk. Those are the people who come out in their numbers to support our party. And we cannot abandon that egalitarianism. We cannot establish an elite party. Sometimes people want to have a function, I sit, and the ordinary people vote. They may not like me. They may think of fundraising or think about something, I said, and the ordinary people vote. I don't want to see a function where some people are eating and dining, drinking, and other people peering through the chain link fences. Can't get it. I'm not saying we don't need to raise money, but we need to prevent the party from being divided into an elite and the ordinary masses. We are a mass-based party. And you don't get 207,000 votes by being elitist. You don't get 207,000 votes by being elitist. You have to go the highways and byways and meet our comrades, find out what their needs are, work with them. We're a party of empowerment. And every party member knows that he has that vote. He can remove me, or she can remove me. If the guy not vote, of course. But it's a Democratic Party. And I'm a Democrat. And as I pointed out, I've been through the mill, I've jumped through the hoops. And when people don't want me to be leader, they know what they have to do. But it must also be a party that has a strong economy. A party that must provide a better life for its members. Encourage them to be entrepreneurs. Encourage them to be self-reliant. Encourage them to produce stuff. Sell stuff. Make stuff. Not just become civil servants or like me, soldiers. People have to start becoming business people. And the party must lead the way in creating that economy. In providing employment. In providing employment. Yeah, and that can provide jobs for all of these people. Yeah, that can provide jobs. Why is it that a Frenchman could come into the country in the middle of the Guyana River? Some of you will never go in the middle of the Guyana River. 60 kilometers up the Guyana River from Tukuma. People are exporting commodities which are being sold in supermarkets of France. And we cannot do that. The same company goes into another community, brings in equipment, farmers start producing pineapples, and then when they see how production is going, they want to take over the equipment. And the company walks away. So now, no pineapples. Farmers have to move. But we have to start thinking about our economy and employment. Brazilians come in for gold and diamonds. Russians come in for bauxite. Chinese come in for bauxite and timber. Canadians come in for gold. We're wrong with y'all. We're wrong. That you cannot set up these corporations, to rival the big international and transnational corporations. And we have a pristine environment. I don't boast, I don't want to insult other countries. But when you go to the islands of the Caribbean, which one could compare? Which one has these great islands in the Essequibo River? Those three big islands, like one Wackenham and Hog Island, are the size of the BVI. 3 islands, the size of the British Virgin Islands. Extensive grasslands. Rupununi bigger than Costa Rica. Highlands, some of you will never go to the highlands. Covered in clouds. The wetlands where our candy pheasant comes from. There's an article in the recent issue of the Caribbean Flight magazine going up to Mahaica, seeing the beautiful candy pheasants. All of these, the rivers, the waterfalls, a magnificent country. And although, as the saying goes, the geologists will tell you if you want an omelette, you have to break the egg. If you want gold and timber, you have to damage the environment. But we must limit the damage. We can walk in 2 legs. We can control the exploitative industries, the extractive industries. At the same time, we can protect and preserve the environment. And of course, our education system, making sure that every child goes to school. And Sandra and I have launched this program with a lot of support from the Ministry of Boats, Buses and Bicycles. To make sure that every child goes to school. And right now we have over 20 buses on the roads of Guyana. We have a dozen boats up and down the major rivers of Guyana. And we have hundreds of bicycles. Children could go to school without paying one nickel. Millions of dollars are going back into households because of that program to keep every child in school. ECIS. So, comrades of the North American region, we have a proud history, but we also have an obligation to craft a future for our children, for generations to come. And I urge you, in your deliberations here today, to pay attention to some of these specific objectives for the future. Don't agonize too much over the past. Organize yourselves for the future. And one of them, of course, is education. And I urge you not to disregard the proud history of our party, because you run the risk that Matthew warned us about 2,000 years ago, of seed falling on stony ground. That people jump hither and thither because they don't understand what our party is and what it stands for. We are the greatest party. But we will not remain great unless we understand what our party means to the Guyanese. And we just passed through a long dark night of 23 years where the role of the party was eclipsed from government. And we saw the damage, we went through the troubles, we went through death squads, because our party was not able to influence the direction. So I urge you, NAR, to have a program of education so that new entrants into our party would understand where we come from. It's not a party of expediency. This is a party that is based on faith and understanding of Guyana's past and a commitment to the future. We have an organization structure which is second to none. Yes. Yeah, some people talk about the bottom house. And of course, those of you who are in that line of work will know about the dog whistles. You can just mention something. As one party leader mentioned, May 2015. I didn't go to Granger, so I didn't get killed people enough for cooking island allegation. The whistle started. Kick down the door. Those are the words he said. Kick down the door. A man who just came through a period of troubles when over 200 people, 300 people died. Morris Wilson built a monument in Buxton. And then you can tell me about crime. So we need to develop an organization also in NAR which provides continuity, which provides structure, which deals with all of the constituencies and to alert us to the needs of the members of our party. We need to think about continuous mobilization, not episodic mobilization every time the election comes around, but continuous mobilization to keep our membership strong. Here on the eastern side of America, but also deeper inland. I remember some years ago when I was studying, I was in a restaurant in Ohio, and somebody came to me and, "Are you Morgan Freeman?" If I was a mischievous person, I said, I can say, "You want my signature?" No, I'm not Morgan Freeman. But it means that you all have to go inland as well, all the way to California. Let people know the PNC is not just located in a few spots. But when you speak of the diaspora, it's continental. And Morgan Freeman says so. I urge that we can look at the need to establish Congress houses so that within communities people have a venue, a destination to which they can go and get information. I know a lot of the information here is transmitted electronically, but sometimes people want to hang out, some people want to have a roti or some good pepper pot. And don't underestimate the value of pepper pot. I was sitting at earlier this year at the intersessional meeting of heads of government of the Caribbean community, and everybody ordered food from the hotel. So I asked this certain head of government, I said, "Aren't you eating?" He said, "Just no." Somebody bought a bowl of paper pot all of the street of Georgia against my, "Now we're going to eat." So every now and then, Guyanese want to go to a place that they could enjoy Guyanese-ness. As I said, at least for the last 5 years, Mark Archer has missed a month of the nation. And let us make greater use of it in an electronic form or some form so that people could read the most important news about the most important part of the country. And let us use our inventiveness and innovativeness to produce films and DVDs. I know I'm talking long. All right.
Just warming up.
Not quite. And colleagues, you need to pay attention to the question of migration and remigration. As you know, we've established a Ministry of Citizenship. And here in NAR, we must make use of that ministry so that questions of migration and remigration are properly dealt with. During the storm of Hurricane Harvey and his children, how many children you had it? Ormo, Jose. What's at the picnic? You think Harvey come alone? The whole family. But we were able to accept responsibilities for our nationals every year. A very serious decision. We didn't abandon them. People wanted to come home, they were affected by hurricane, we tried our best. We don't have the big aircraft, airlift capacity, but we tried our best to get people back home when we were in need. That's a caring government. Some of you may wonder about the coalition. Well, our party is the party. PNC is PNC. That hasn't changed. And that will not change. As our founder leader did in 1964, we found it prudent to meet with other parties. And in 2011, July, we established something called APNU, a Partnership for National Unity, which is made up of 5 parties, and simple as the hand, 5 fingers. And we said then, try to pick up some hard channel with 1 finger. And you'll see the benefit of having 5 fingers. So the PNC entered a partnership with the Working People's Alliance, the National Front Alliance, the Guyana Action Party, and the Justice for All Party. So there are 5 of us there. GAP, Justice for All, National Front, WP, and the PNC. As you know, on Valentine's Day 2015, we went a step further and established a coalition under the Commonwealth Accord with the AFC. So you have the PNC, which is still the single largest party in the coalition. And then you have the APNU, which is a group of 5. And then the APNU joined with the AFC to form a coalition administration. But what it means is that each party still preserves its individuality. You may say that is problematic, but that is the situation that we have to deal with in a mature way. Everybody knows that the PNC and the WPA were not seeing eye to eye on certain matters for a very long period of time. Even quite recently, there was the Lightning Commission inquiry. WPA can speak as an individual party, but when it comes to government policy, that policy is determined by the cabinet. We go to the National Assembly and we vote as a single coalition. And your leader has been careful to ensure that every party is represented in the National Assembly. So, somebody's there from the WPA, somebody's there from the NSA, somebody's there from Justice for All, somebody's there from the Guyana Action Party, and of course, the AFC. Fair is fair. You have a fair man at the head of the party. Yes. So everybody is represented in the National Assembly. I don't say you small and you big. Everybody has a voice. And we learn, we listen to people in that partnership, in that coalition. So differences will persist, but it falls on the quality of leadership to ensure that those differences don't become divisive with an eye. You don't become adversarial. You don't become antagonistic. So, what role does the diaspora have? I urge you to look again at some remarks I made 4 years ago in July 2013 at General Council.
You see the first thing next to share?
Exactly. And I put out at that time something called a Plan of Action for Regional Development, PARD. And I urge every region of our party to do 3 things. Number 1 is to develop its physical infrastructure and the acquisition of assets, so that from year to year at your annual regional conferences we're having today, there's actually an accounting for those assets and a transfer of those assets from one executive to the next. there's the element of accountability. That if the party was able to gain $5,000 one year, next year, we add to that $5,000. So in years to come, the party has $500,000, $1 million, whatever. But after 60 years, there should be an accumulation of assets. And I'd like to urge NER to start accumulating assets, not for the sake of property, but because it would establish a foundation which makes the party stronger, which gives it a greater reach to serve its constituents, rather than just operating word of mouth, or by email, or by Skype. We need to have those physical assets. The Congress House here in North America. And that would facilitate the administration of the NER. Secondly, we need membership. And believe it or not, even though it might be difficult to tell from your faces, the party is getting older.
Why are you looking at Blackie?
See, George, at that particular moment, I averted my gaze. But there has come a time, or there will come a time, when your children and grandchildren don't know what they're about. When they don't know and they don't share the experiences you had of childhood. So we need to continuously recruit members, to register residents, and to induct younger people into our organization. And thirdly, the third leg of the tripod of that PARD is, of course, a regional outreach. And we're not just a party for ourselves, but we're a party for our constituents and for the community. We have to go out and reach people, even though they may not be Guyanese, they may not be members of the PNC. Some of them are interested in Guyana, want to come to Guyana, and they marry Guyanese. Nice people to marry. And encourage people from Guyana to come here, as we have today the leader of the party, the general secretary. And from time to time have excursions with people from the diaspora go to Guyana. Those were the three elements of PARD that I left with you in 2014. To rebuild, to recruit, and to reorganize. The diaspora has a very important role to play. First, in terms of investment. As I said, a few days ago, I was up the Barama River looking at the enterprise run by a Frenchman who could take a Guyanese product and sell it on the streets of France. Satisfy international standards. If the Frenchman could do it, if the Brazilians could do it, you can do it too. So, think about investment, think about projects, think about making profits through economic enterprise. Second, you could be leaders in innovation. And there are many aspects of government policy, of government organization, of government function, which require innovation. Maybe they're slow now, and we're open to ideas. And these are some areas, of course, particularly in information technology, in education, from which you could benefit from your knowledge. even in terms of agro-processing. Very important that we can convert all of that sweet potato into sweet potato chips. And I always like to refer to my experience in Cameroon. I was given a bottle of coconut water. I read it as product of Trinidad and Tobago. I said, I can choke if I drink this thing. And somebody said, let not your heart be troubled, it's Guyanese coconut water. But it's difficult to sell Guyanese coconut water in Trinidad, so they send the bottles back to Trinidad. But as I told Lucy Adams, Cameroon coconut water is the best coconut water in the Western Hemisphere. And if you don't believe, well, of course, being a head state, I can't compare with other countries. But I can give you coconut water from 6 countries, and you can tell me from there. But we produce great products. The best avocado peels, the best coconut water. And I would urge that the best one. It's true because I was in one of the southern states of this country, and somebody gave me some large, juicy-looking mangoes from a certain central American country. You see how my language has changed now? I can't be accused of attacking any country. So I eat this thing, I say, what is this? Where did this come from? You can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. And there are places in Ghana you're driving your SUV and mango. Because even sometimes even the pig don't want to eat the mango, too much mango. But we do not have the agro-processing facilities or knowledge to produce mango slices or mango juice. But you go in Mokomok and you go to Hazaroro and you will see mango. So bring your technology and your innovation into the country. And of course, your intellectual capital. As I pointed out, that another engagement with the diaspora. We need that intellectual input. There was a time we needed the barrels. That time has passed. What we need now is innovation and investment. My brothers and sisters, today I speak to you with pride as leader of your party. The PNC celebrates its 60th anniversary this year, and I'm convinced that its role, far from being dimmed or far from being diminished, is stronger now than it has ever been. We are the conscience of the country. We cannot be corrupt. We cannot be crooked. Because the people look to us for guidance and for leadership. The PNC is the face of the future. We are what Guyana looks like. Not the people that you saw on Thursday. We can spell. The PNC is the grandmother of independence. We fought for Guyana to be free, and we must continue to fight to preserve that freedom for our people, our children. At this stage, we cannot drop the ball. No other party can do for Guyana what we have done over the last 60 years and what we will continue to do. We cannot turn aside from the task of leadership of our country. Ask yourselves the question, if the PNC doesn't lead Guyana, who will? If the PNC doesn't lead Guyana, who will? God bless you. Thank you.
Mr. President, for that very inspiring talk with us today. I'm quite sure that all of us have learned something from what the President said here this morning. At this time, we will be taking a break, but before we do, there's a very important presentation that is to be made to the General Secretary of the People's National Congress. I'm informed reliably that Mr. Kwame Chase from Trinity Printing Company is going to be making a presentation to the General Secretary of the party. Mr. Chase.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, Madam Secretary, my name is Kwame Chase. I am the founder, CEO, and managing director of Trinity PNCR. We are a Guyanese-owned company here in Atlanta, and we specialize in printing, office solutions. We specialize in printing, office solutions, and technology. As the President has spoken of entrepreneurs coming back to Guyana, I've been in the process of bringing equipment to Guyana. I've been engaged with the National Printers Limited, and I would like to make a donation of 2 multifunction copiers to the party.
I want to thank Mr. Chase for his generous contribution. We are in the process of preparing for local government elections, and we need it badly at the Secretariat. And I hope that we are going to have more Trinity solutions coming forward. Thank you, Mr. Chase.
Getting into a relationship. Thank you very much. Saying you get into a relationship. Oh yes.
At this point in time, we're going to take a 15-minute break. There are some refreshments on the outside. We ask you guys to participate, refresh, and we will regroup again in about 15 minutes. Thank you very much for your attention this morning.